Okay, everybody's got a fucking podcast. I mean, we have a podcast, so obviously anyone can do it.
Wait, this is a podcast?
Are you recording right now?
Technical difficulties.
No, you don't have to say anything. I'm going to edit it out.
Technical difficulties.
Okay. I put mayonnaise on a pickle.
Yo, I know y'all ain't playing skee ball. I'm trying to go to bed.
Do my feet... I mean, my feet stink, right?
Yeah. So the harder they fall. This is August. Charles month, another Charles pick.
August.
So Charles, how'd you come across this one? Is it just because you
I saw...
scrolling Netflix and like
Yeah, so it was one of those notifications that it was like, oh, this is coming out on this day. And I was like... I saw it had Idris and like a couple other like famous like black actors in it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, if they got all these famous like black actors in one movie, like, I figured it'd be something like kind of like the black version of the Magnificent Seven or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, probably be worth a watch. So like, plus I was like, I like some of the people that were in it. I was like, obviously Idris is I'm a big fan of his. He's a great actor. So I was like, I'll watch it. And then I ended up watching it and I was like, holy shit, this is great.
So, I was thinking we go through some of the characters. I pulled up their Wikipedia pages.
Most reliable source on the internet.
Yep, most unreliable source on the internet.
No, reliable source.
Yeah, most unreliable source on the internet. So the Rufus Buck Gang was an outlaw Native American gang whose members were Creek Indian and African American. Their crime spree took place in the Indian Territory of the Arkansas, Oklahoma area from July 30th through August 4th of 1895. Formed by Rufus Buck, the gang consisted also of Lewis Davis, Sam Sampson, Maoma July, and Lucky Davis. The gang began building up a small stockpile of weapons while staying in Okmulgee, Oklahoma, after killing U.S. Deputy Marshal John Garrett on July 30th, 1895. The gang began holding up various stores and ranches in the Fort Smith area during the next 2 weeks. In one incident, a salesman named Callahan, after being robbed, was offered a chance to escape if he could outrun the gang. When the elderly Callahan successfully escaped, the gang killed his assistant in frustration. At least 2 female victims who were raped by the gang died of their injuries.
Yikes.
List of their crimes: July 30th, 1895, killing of U.S. Deputy Marshal John Garrett. July 31st, 1895, coming across a white man and his daughter in a wagon. The gang held the man at gunpoint and took the girl. They killed a black boy and beat Ben Callahan until they mistakenly believed he was dead, then took Callahan's boots, money, and saddle. Robbing of country stores West and J. Norberg at Orquette, Oklahoma. I wonder if that's a silent T or not. Oh well. Murder of 2 white women and a 14-year-old girl. August 4th, a rape of Mrs. Hassan near Sapulpa, Oklahoma. Hassan and 2 of the 3 other female victims of the gang, a Miss Aries and an Indian girl near Sapulpa, also died. A 4th victim, Mrs. Wilson, was reported to have recovered. It is reported that after their capture, the gang was almost lynched. Capture and hanging. Continuing attacks on both local shelters and Creek indiscriminately. The gang was captured outside Muskogee by Muskogee, yeah. I always forget that one. It was coming up. I was like, how's it go? Okay, we're guessing. By a combined force of lawmen and Indian police of the Creek Light Horse, led by Marshal S. Morton Rutherford on August 10th. When the Creek wanted to hold the gang for trial, the men were brought before hanging Judge Isaac Parker. He twice sentenced them to death, the first sentence not being carried out, pending an ultimately unsuccessful appeal to the Supreme Court. They were hanged on July 1st, 1896 at 1 p.m. at Fort Smith. So they were a bad bunch of dudes, which I think is fairly accurately portrayed in the movie. Right? There's some nasty people.
Yeah, very well portrayed.
We got Nat Love, who's our main character. Nat Love, from June 1854 to 1921, was an American cowboy and former slave in the period following the American Civil War. His exploits have made him one of the most famous heroes of the Old West. There's quite a bit of stuff on him here. I don't want to bore everybody by just reading. Yeah, just read it. Okay. Love was born into slavery on the plantation of Robert Love in Davidson County, Tennessee in June 1854. His father was a I just know it's not like compelling pod for a guy to just sit there reading. You know what I mean?
That's fine.
He gives us a little background then. So whatever. Because they did say, because that was the whole thing at the beginning of the movie, is it says, these people, while the actions aren't true, or the story isn't true, these people definitely existed. So
We get Floyd Mayweather to read this. Make it a little more interesting.
Yeah, I text him. Maybe we'll edit over this part. His father was a foreman enslaved on the plantation's fields, and his mother, the manager of its kitchen. Love had 2 siblings, an older sister, Sally, and an older brother, Jordan. Despite slavery-era statutes that outlawed black literacy, he learned to read and write as a child with the help of his father, Samson. When slavery ended, Love's parents stayed on the Love plantation as sharecroppers, attempting to raise tobacco and corn on about 20 acres, but Samson died shortly after the second crop was planted. Afterward, Nat took a second job on a local farm to help make ends meet. At about this time, he was noted as having a gift for breaking horses. After some time of working extra odd jobs in the area, he won a horse in a raffle on 2 occasions, which he then sold back to the owner for $50 each time. He used the money to leave town, and at the age of 16, headed west.
Awesome.
His life as a cowboy, Love traveled to Dodge City, Kansas, where he found work as a cowboy with cow drivers from the Duval Ranch, located on the Palo Duro River in the Texas Panhandle. According to his autobiography, Love fought cattle rustlers and endured inclement weather. He trained himself to become an expert marksman and cowboy, for which he earned from his co-workers the moniker Red River Dick. In 1872, Love moved to Arizona, where he found work at the Gallinger Ranch. There's an I there. Located along the Gila River. He wrote in his autobiography that while working the cattle drives in Arizona, he met Pat Garrett, Bat Masterson, Billy the Kid, and others.
Oh wow, he met
Cattle rustlers stole cattle. That's what cattle rustlers. No, I wasn't saying your question. I was just saying for the
people,
the public, in case you're like, the fuck's a cattle rustler? Deadwood Dick, after driving a herd of cattle to the railhead in Deadwood, Dakota Territory, he entered a rodeo on the 4th of July in 1876.
Glad I don't have Deadwood Dick.
Yeah. Nothing worse than Deadwood. Enticed by the $200 prize money, he won the rope throw, tie, bridle, saddle, and bronco riding contests. It was at this rodeo that he claims friends and fans gave him the nickname Deadwood Dick, a reference to a literary character created by Edward Lytton Wheeler and a dime novelist of the day. Capture and escape. In October 1877, Love writes that he was captured by a band of Prima Indians while rounding up stray cattle near the Gila River in Arizona. Although he claimed to have received over 14 bullet wounds in his career, with several received in his fight with the Native Americans while trying to avoid capture, Love wrote that his life was spared because the Indians respected his heritage, a large portion of the band themselves being of mixed blood. He almost married the chief's daughter. The band of Native Americans nursed him back to health, wishing to adopt him into the tribe. Eventually, Love writes, he stole a pony and escaped into West Texas. And then Love decided he needed to leave the cowboy life. He married a woman named Alice in 1889 and settled down initially in Denver, taking a job in 1890 as a Pullman porter, which is men hired to work on the railroads as porters on sleeping cars. All right. Which involved overseeing sleeping cars on the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad. While working for the railroad, he and his family resided in several western states before finally moving to Southern California. In 1907, Love published his autobiography entitled Life and Adventures of Nat Love, better known in the cattle country as Deadwood Dick, by himself, which greatly enhanced his legacy. Love spent the latter part of his life as a courier and guard for a Los Angeles securities company. He died there in 1921 at the age of 67. So Nat Love's a little more boring. I mean, he still had an eventful life, but not quite as exciting a character as
Rufus.
As Rufus, sure, or his character in the movie.
Well, the fact that he met Billy the Kid, though, that's pretty cool.
Yes,
because like cool. Now I actually kind of want to like read his autobiography.
Sure.
Because they always talk about Billy the Kid. in really anything, especially in like school. Like anytime you learned about the fucking West, it was like Billy Kid. Like that's what everything went to.
Yeah. Tell you what we're gonna do. We're gonna leave in Nat Love and Rufus Buck because that's the important people.
Stagecoach Mary.
And Stagecoach Mary. And then all those other people, that became a very long thing. So
Let me tell you, if I was a listener right there, you would have lost me after the second person.
yeah, well, that's why I was kind of like, this feels like a lot.
I was like,
know?
I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, he's still reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless
Like,
you're.
Jesus, I was over here just fucking
in...
Googling random fucking things. I'm like,
So over here, you like get your dick out. And, oh, wait, hold on. We're filming a podcast right now.
shit.
He's like, oh yeah, there's cameras around now.
And I was gonna tell you, like, when we got the podcast, like, yeah, you probably cut like most of that out. That was pretty rough.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna roll with Nat Love and Rufus Buck. Because I don't know, for some reason I thought that'd be a little better. Oh, Bass Reeves is interesting too. He was a deputy.
Oh, he was the deputy.
A deputy, just like he was in the movie.
Yeah, what a way to go in the movie though.
Reeves didn't die in the movie. Bass Reeves, his buddy.
I was talking about the deputy, like the other deputy dude.
Oh, Wiley.
Yeah.
Wiley Esco.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't exist. Trudy didn't exist.
Well, of course.
Which I really like Trudy. I like just her kind of... She was just... I just liked that she was blatantly just a terrible person. Just because I felt like everybody else was still kind of under the illusion that I'm the good cowboy. You know what I mean? I mean everybody's bad they think is good. You know, I mean just in life in general, like people that are doing things for themselves, they always kind of just have that underlying like, oh well, I murder people, but
this is all justified.
But I mean
I murder them because I don't like them, and that's a good enough reason.
they
why.
looked at me weird. I didn't feel right. They felt dead after I killed them. It was a whole thing.
I felt a lot right before too.
Yeah, I was like, remember how we just killed like millions of people for some land that wasn't ours? So, it's okay.
You know, Wesley Snipes was supposed to be in this movie?
That doesn't surprise me.
He was supposed to be in this movie, but this was a COVID movie. So when it was going to begin in March of 2020, obviously the pandemic hit, and they delayed it.
Yeah.
So Wesley Snipes and two other actors, Cynthia, I don't know how to say her last name, Ervico, and then Sterling Brown and Wesley Snipes were all
I remember what it looks like.
initially supposed to be cast, or were originally in the cast lineup, but then they had to exit because they're like, hey, the movie's been delayed. They didn't even start filming until September of 2020, and then in October they had to apparently do a break on it because one of the background actors tested positive for COVID.
Yikes.
So this is a COVID movie.
Yeah, if you look at the, it's funny because if you look at the box office number they have up there, it's like it's budget $90 million. What does that sound?
It's my water
Oh,
bottle. I just tried to do it under the table. So it's
I
not
thought a
getting
video
picked up on
started
my-
playing or something.
Budget $90 million, but box
says-
office $8,292.
I mean, it's a Netflix release
Yeah,
movie, so that's probably where most of their money comes from at that point.
Yeah.
But it is funny to see that number, like, oh man, this fucking flopped. But it's like, well, now
3 people went to go watch it.
Yeah, but it's a
People in, like, every
Netflix
state.
movie. So, yeah.
Yeah, so that's a little interesting thing I just read, so.
Yeah. So who's your favorite character in the movie?
Me?
I mean,
Uh,
both of you eventually.
Not everyone at once.
I don't remember the.
Tell you what, both
I
of you
don't remember all
just
the
say
names.
your favorite characters right now.
I don't remember. I don't remember all the names. I would have to say the fucking sheriff.
Okay. Okay, so the guy that was running the town when Rufus was away? No, the badass one. Bass Reeves?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember their names because I didn't watch it like recently. It was like last week, the week before.
Right.
But
Well, you know me.
He was-
I watched it 3 times and
Yeah.
researched all the people and took all the notes because
I left on my shit in the car.
I freak out like that about
That's
doing
fair.
these. So yeah.
He's got a whole thing of notes right here. Whole thing.
And the next movie, and the next movie, and the next movie.
And the next one, and the next one, and the
The
next
next
one,
day.
and the
The
next
next
day,
Oh, Jesus
and the
Christ.
next
All right,
day.
so your favorite movie. Your
Yeah.
unrelated favorite movie. Yeah. No, your favorite character.
I like Trudy.
Yeah.
I knew.
I like
had,
Trudy.
I had a feeling I knew you were gonna say that.
I like Trudy because her character, like, even though she was bad, she was a badass too.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not because she's a light-skinned black girl?
No, that's not it. I like
Are you
Trudy.
sure?
I like
no,
Trudy's
I'm not
character.
sure about that.
Does that
If
play a
you-
small part?
If you want to be real, if it's going off of that, Nat Love's mom, for the 3 seconds she was in the movie, before she got a hole blown in her chest,
Two.
2, it just
Excessive.
made
really.
it a bigger hole.
Yeah. It was,
If we're honest.
if we're honest.
Excessive.
Being honest.
Right?
No, she was. I think she was a badass. Like, just her
That double barrel
mannerism
shotgun.
and all that.
She was just so not give a fuck about anything.
Yeah. Yeah. Trudy, I liked. I don't know if she's quite my favorite. This was the question I had: is Beckworth cool or annoying? Beckworth's dude that's like, I'm fast, I'm
The
fast.
kid, he was
I'm
funny.
I'm lightning with the blam
I
blams.
thought he was funny.
But is he cool or annoying?
Both. No, I think he's funny.
Is he more? Which one is he more of?
Funny.
I think funny.
No. Between cool or annoying, which one is he more of?
There's-
is he more
'cause there's-
annoying or is he more cool?
There is a fine line balance between cool and annoying.
Yeah. And so
And
I'm
he's-
saying,
I think
which
he
is he, more?
teeters
of?
it.
You think he walks the line perfect?
Yes.
You think he's right?
I
even?
think he stays pretty neutral, but he leans a little bit more annoying because there was one scene there towards the end of the movie, and I was like, man, this just he's kind of just fucking annoying. But like the other scenes is like a good neutral.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie, he got annoying.
I liked him right in the beginning,
They were funny.
where they intercept that gang in the canyon there,
What the fuck were they called? That
Crimson
gang?
Hood gang,
Yeah.
and just that they're sitting there bickering at each other, and dude is reaching for the gun, and he just
And they fucking
chops
shoots
his
it.
hand off and shit. That's fun, And then as it went on, he was like, by the way, like, very interesting choice by Cuffy, the Mary's girl that works the door in the place. He like gives her the dress to go rob the bank,
Oh yeah.
and she's just like, all right, and takes her pants off like right in front. I was like, that's an interesting decision. Just take your pants off in front of everybody. I mean, there's
I mean,
trees,
they all were supposed to like. They all turned around. The one dude, he was like, he's
Yeah,
like,
Beckworth.
Yeah,
that's
like,
why maybe he leans more annoying because he's like, whoo, close shave.
That. I thought he was funny the whole movie because
He was funny, yeah.
He's just like, he's the obnoxious one out of that group, and he's just always saying something like really silly, but his shit was cracking me up, especially in the beginning, yeah, with the Crimson Hood gang.
Yeah, and that's
He's like, Negro, would you stop reaching? Like with the when
Yeah.
he shot the gun out of his hand.
and that was Damon Wayans Jr.
Yeah, I knew that.
So, I mean, we just didn't mention it. So,
Well, Tiff knows
yeah.
him as Coach from New Girl.
oh, okay.
She was like, "Oh, I know him. That's Coach." I was like, "Nope, that's not his name."
So I was very close to saying that it was Beckworth, but by the end he gets kind of weird, and then upon watching it a couple times, I go, and then, he meets his end because he takes too long counting, and Cherokee Bill just decides that, we're at 1, I'm shooting you. Which, Bill kind of contradicts himself, because if you remember,
He's cold-blooded though.
he is cold-blooded, and I do think he's really cool. But he's dirty and shoots people in the back.
He is.
And cheats the count. But he contradicts himself because he's doing the slow countdown when they're on the train.
Mm-hmm.
When he's telling dudes to, just put the guns down, open the door. And, Trudy gets impatient. And he says, sorry, she doesn't like arithmetic. And, he's counting slow. So, And then backwards counting slow, loading his gun. And it's like you're kind of contradicting yourself because I thought, you don't. He said, "Why dudes always counts? Why they always got to count so slow?" Mm-hmm. But you count slow.
I think he did that because it was like, it wasn't him controlling the situation,
right?
And I think that he really felt like he wouldn't win against them,
right?
Which
he's a cheater,
which makes sense. Because but if he knows he can win that fight, obviously he's going to do it. But if he doesn't know, if it's not a guaranteed win,
yeah,
I feel like that's when he'll be like shooting people in the back.
Yeah, because ultimately he's a bad person.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: all of them are bad people.
Every single person.
Every single one of them are not good people. That's the thing. I mean, that's I think that's what a good movie does too. It's like even though they kind of establish someone as the hero, but like Nat Love is not like a great dude.
Yeah.
So they still kind of
does some kind of
shitty
bad
shit.
shit.
Yeah. So just the fact that I like a movie that kind of plays with your morals, where they're like, all right, well,
where your moral compass lies. Yeah.
Yeah, he still kills people. So how big a fan are you of him?
Yeah.
This movie had so much killing in it.
Yeah.
That by the time you hit the halfway mark, you were just numb to it.
It was just, you're so desensitized.
You're just like, I don't care who dies at this point. You're just so numb to it by the time you hit the halfway point, because there's so much fucking killing.
There's a lot.
Is there any aspect of the story you'd want expanded on? Like, is there any parts of the story where you'd be like, well, I'd like to know more about that? That kind of thing. For me, I would have liked to know a little bit about Nat's childhood. Now, this movie was already like 2 hours, so it's kind of like,
yeah, they're decent.
I don't know that I want the movie to be longer necessarily, but if we're talking about like a Netflix series or something,
I want to know.
I would have liked an episode about his childhood. Who raised him? Did he just figure it out on his own?
I want to know
10-year-old?
More, especially after the ending of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know more about Rufus.
Right.
Know more about like that whole situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and they make it very obvious there was obviously something between him and Trudy, because they get very, very in close, kind of intimate a couple times. They never kiss or anything, but they make it very obvious that something.
They were literally about to fuck.
No, yeah, not Nat and
Mary. I was like
Rufus.
Oh,
Idris
Rufus
Elba. Yeah.
Okay, I was like.
Trudy, not Mary. Mary and Nat Love were about to fuck, yes. I'm saying they made it very obvious that obviously something was there between Trudy and Rufus. Not Nat and Mary. They got in close quite a couple times.
Maybe she was just like, Idris kind of handsome.
Oh, you think that was just a choice by Regina King? Like, I'd just like to be a little closer to Idris Elba's face.
Would you not want to be?
You're telling me right now you wouldn't kiss Idris?
Tell me right now. Say you swear in it. Say you swear in it.
I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that. Why would I say that? Why would I say that, Dakota? Come on.
I know you'd be fucking lying too.
Yeah.
That's why I wouldn't say it.
I was about to say, I bet Luke's real dad looks kind of like Idris. Oh, just kidding. I know your mom listens to this podcast. That's why I said that.
Thanks for telling everybody I'm a loser. My mom listens to my podcast.
Come on now, your mom loves this.
No, it's just a weird thing. Like, and your mom listens to the podcast. It's like,
no, that's fine.
Hey, everybody, my mom listens to my podcast. That's,
my mom co-signed this.
My mom sponsors this podcast.
My mom sponsors these penis jokes.
Matter of fact, we're recording this in my mom's basement.
Yeah. She supplies us with the electricity and the juice boxes.
The juice boxes.
The juice boxes.
The liquor bottles?
Yeah, we're not old enough to buy these.
Yeah,
so.
Underage drinking.
I'm 14. I have a wife.
Alright, you just from West Virginia then. Your wife's your cousin, right?
Charles is 13.
I'm actually.
Dakota's 11.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. My balls haven't dropped yet.
That's why he's so short. And,
I miss that I can't say that stupid shit to Luke anymore.
I mean, you can say it. He's too high to hear you.
Yeah. No, he's just almost taller than I am.
He's still a little twig.
Luke?
He lost all his football weight. He's a little twig now. Anyway, we're not talking. This isn't my brother podcast. This isn't fascinating pod here.
I'm fascinated.
All right.
I want to hear you more. Hear you talk about kissing guys more.
Kissing tall black men more.
Hey, we got one. You got one right across the table.
That's right. He doesn't co-sign ever. Jason, make sure you get that head shake when Dakota mentions that. It's one of the beautiful things about having videos now. It's like, all right, now we get all like the one time when Dakota started talking about like vibrators or something, and you were in your chair and you were taking a drink of something, and you literally just turned your chair away from the table, like you just like, couldn't look at him. When he started, he was talking about going to the Lions Den and all that shit.
Oh yeah.
And you literally just turned the chair like the other way and just looked at the wall.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was a little bit too comfortable sharing.
I'm not too comfortable. I just ain't nothing to be.
Let's not go down the hole again.
That's the plan.
Well, not that hole. You know what I'm
You think they had sex toys back in that time?
Buddy.
Other than produce, no, I don't think so, really.
Just fuck you with this wooden handle. Ow. You might get a splinter.
Yeah, I don't think so. Alright, so I like the opening scene. I like the quote from Nat there. This is one of man. Take his body and you get $5,000 for your church. Why don't you take him in yourself? I'm worth 10.
That was pretty dope. I did like. Also, I did want to point out one thing. When Tiff and I were watching this, it was silly because it just dawned on me, and I was like, okay, takes place in the late 19th century. So I was like, why is Nat so goddamn buff? I was like, how do you get that fucking swole in?
I don't think you do.
That man was bench pressing cows.
Yeah, I mean, like it's like
I don't think anyone was like, I gotta wake up in the morning and do crunches because I want to have that six pack.
Yeah, I don't think like being buff and being muscular really didn't kind of like blow up of everyone being like that until really honestly like the 90s and above it. Perfect example is look at fucking basketball players. Look at basketball players from the 80s. Look at them now.
Right.
The ones now look like fucking bodybuilders compared to the ones in the 80s. The ones in the 80s were like twigs.
Yeah, unless you're 6'4".
It really starts in the 90s, like, you see, Jordan goes from being a skinny kid and then he's getting his ass beat by the Pistons and he goes and he works out and all of a sudden Jordan's got some muscle. Like, dudes, it was the 90s when dudes really started kind of getting into that.
And now it's just kind of the thing where most people just kind of...
Where LeBron just looks like he could fight in the UFC.
It's a lot of weight in that man.
He's a big dude.
Dude's huge, yeah.
Anyways, harder
you
than they fall.
Kiss him.
Who, LeBron?
Yeah.
Not LeBron. Not my type.
You're more a KD guy. You like him lanky.
Yeah, something about the be able to wrap my whole hand around his leg.
Wow, so that's not at all what that motion looks like.
His leg.
His
his
leg.
Hair.
I'm gonna start going that even when I'm talking about like something that's not related at all.
You can't, bro. The carburetor.
What is the fucking thing we saw at the grocery store?
Butter.
It's like it's like the HDMI dongle. It's like that doesn't
chocolate bars. Chocolate bars.
It's like, oh man, those fucking fruit cups that we saw. Like,
what is it? Pinto beans.
Oh shit!
What was it? Damn, what was it? Wheat bread. It was fucking wheat bread, bro.
I was thinking this. I just thought of the fucking Deadpool thing where he's like more shake weighty.
Deadpool where he's like, they're talking about what he does, what people do when they're nervous. It's like, I don't know, when you're nervous and you panic, you might, masturbate into a soap dispenser. And then fucking, what's his fucking name? Big metal dude. It doesn't matter, but he smells his hands.
Shit.
All right.
Good times.
And the next quote is Nat and Mary up in the room. He walks in. Hey, you got the worst timing ever. You got the worst time in the history of timing. Something like that. I didn't write that part down, but he's like, oh, y'all was making sex.
Y'all was making sex.
I apologize.
I don't know why that fucking Chris said, oh, y'all was making sex. I was like, I never heard it said like that.
Because, yeah, I was like, in my mind, like, as soon as he said it, I laughed. And, like, Tiff laughed. And I was like, that was the most ghetto fabulous way I've ever heard that said.
Well, and they also... Another way they kept talking in this movie was... he might could have... Like, that's what they kept saying. Like,
Yeah.
You know, like, when he's like, he might could have said Nick and poop.
he's out there and said, what are you doing, you stupid Nick?
Yeah.
She was, could have said Nick and poop.
He might could have said Nick and poop. And like, we ain't no Nick and poop.
That's
Anybody
it.
ever says a word that starts with N, you know, suffer the same fate.
They had no fucking chill.
I thought the whole thing with trains was, you know, they had to take a while to stop. You know, she just
Yeah.
parked her horse on the tracks,
Parked our
and then the
horse.
thing just like came to a stop. I thought the whole thing like,
They usually, well,
you know, that's why they say don't stop on train tracks. You know,
right, so steam engines, I don't know if they were...
It might have been a smaller train. They didn't really give you like the big
It wasn't like a big train.
zoom out.
It
Yeah, it
was
wasn't
just kind
huge.
of like a couple cars, so maybe it wasn't going
But
too
it was-
fast where it could have stopped a
It was
little
a short
slower,
enough
but
distance where I was like, should
It shouldn't have stopped like that. No.
Yeah,
Because in my mind, even if a train's moving kind of slow nowadays, they take a fucking while to stop.
yeah.
So the question is, if that train jumped a hill, how many bounces does it have?
The train?
Mhm.
None.
Physics.
Yeah, come on, physics.
That
guy.
train is not bouncing at all. That shit's going
I
into
disagree!
The ground.
No.
That shit's going into the ground, sir.
Listen to the Terminator 2 and 3 extras and Terminator 3, and you'll know why the fuck we're talking about physics. Alright.
Can't even spell physics.
Can we talk about... So, like, I feel like it's so inefficient to do trick shots. It's just so inefficient. Like, yeah, you may be good, but, like, how much extra effort do you... Like, I just feel like you run the risk of, like, you may hit the guy, but there's a chance you're probably going to, like, nick the wall by him or some shit. Like,
Sure.
he was just like... And I'm like... That's risky. Like, you don't even, like, you're just...
I mean, when you're good, you know?
Yeah.
Well,
I was
yeah,
gonna
and
say,
also-
like, think about it. Like,
And it's a movie rule. If you're the good guy, the good guys,
can't miss.
you can't miss. And if you're the bad guys, you shoot at the ground.
Stormtrooper aim.
You just...
Yeah.
Because there was
Stormtrooper aim. 5
there was
feet.
that scene right after they robbed the bank, and they're riding out on a horse, and you know the dude sounds the alarm on the bank, and like people come out of nowhere and start
Everybody.
shooting, and like they're within like 25 feet, and they
No. That was Pickett.
was it?
That was, yeah, when they show the head on, and like there's a gun right here, and Nat's like riding towards him, that was Pickett. He's covering him.
Well, no, I'm
Because
talking.
Pickett's posted up. They show this view.
Well, they were.
And
There
then-
was.
I wasn't-
I know the dude's like come right out of the bank.
Yeah, I wasn't
and
talking
all
about that. I'm talking about like the scene where like he's coming out and there's people like basically on what looks like a porch over here that came out of that building and they're shooting at him,
Right.
but they're within like 25 feet of him, but they miss. They miss the horse. They miss him. They miss that big ass fucking horse.
Yeah.
If you're not going to hit him, you're going to at least hit the horse.
Right.
Like they were like they were trying to do trick shots and we're bad at it.
Yeah. It's kind of stormtrooper logic, you know.
They were trying to quick scope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pickett was dope though.
Yeah, Pickett was cool.
His
Shot the dude through the scope. That was pretty sweet.
Yeah, his aim was just.
Man, can you imagine back in the day?
Yes.
Some dude cuts your fucking like ACLs,
Ah.
and then you're both your Achilles, and you just fucking collapse. Fucking Cherokee Bill fucked that dude up on that train. Tried to stand up to him. Like before anybody could do anything to help you. Like, what do you do at that? You're just like, I guess I don't walk now, forever.
That recovery time. Back in that time, that recovery time would have been never.
Yeah.
They would just put you out your misery like an old horse.
Yeah, they took you out to the pasture.
Yeah.
They're like, well, now you gotta go the way old Yeller.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty.
And that was a long time ago. Like, Old Yeller. I mean, when was Old Yeller?
I don't know.
Is Old Yeller like, oh yeah, we got to put Old Yeller down next week. Go
Gotta-
away of Old Yeller.
It's
What are
gotta
you
be. It's
talking
gotta be 20th century though.
about? Yeah.
We're Old Yeller.
Give me just Old Yeller.
Let's do the novel.
Time period.
The novel came out in 56.
Oh yeah, they're like, gotta put Old Yeller down in 50 years.
So in a doesn't give me a time period. So it came out. The book came out in 56.
Well, that's all we needed.
Yeah.
Because that's still, 61 years before some of this stuff took place.
What do you call Old Yeller as a nickname? Hey, Yell. Yo, yo, yo.
Oh.
Oh. There was kind of, and then so they free Rufus, right? They kept having these weird, like creaking sounds in the cage, as if he was like some like beast in a cage. There was just like this, like
It's the sound you hear when you're playing Left 4 Dead and there's a tank in the other room.
well, it reminded me
yeah.
a lot of like
That's exactly what it was.
Godzilla.
Yeah.
Where like that first half of that movie you'd like never see Godzilla, right? But then they would always like hear something in the fucking the
Oh, that
pit
was
or
from
whatever,
like
and
the
it was just
fucking
like
sonar. It's like a sonar sound.
Well, I know, but like the ground, like it was kind of like low key, like kind of earthquake-ish sounds. It was like that was the sounds coming from the cell that Rufus is in, and then he gets out, and then, I don't know if you noticed, but they do like this thing, like you remember in Matrix?
where it's like the
the screen does
the
this
screen
little
effect.
like whoa, whoa, whoa. Yeah, like remember in Matrix when Neo like overtakes that dude, the agent, and then he like comes out of him and he's like ah, and then the whole screen is like kind of like doing this shit, and he's like
It's like a wavy effect.
yeah. It is like weird wavy thing when he got out and he like did this like stretch thing. And you're like, all right, does he have powers? Like is this?
Yeah, I was confused at first. I was like,
It's a little goofy, I thought, a little over the top. And I forgot to mention that like intro scene when Nat shoots the dude in the church, and dude just like literally like flies back.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, all right, that was a little much.
it was excessive.
He just flies back. He shoots him again. He flies even farther
Yeah.
back. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the fuck kind of gun is that?
Yeah, that's like,
Motherfucker shot him with a grenade
50
launcher.
It's like a 50 cal muzzle loader.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a shotgun. It was a fucking revolver, I mean, fuck.
You had explosive rounds.
Pretty much.
Yes.
Left 4 Dead style.
Gravity-defying bullets,
Yes. Maybe, well, I mean, we weren't alive then. Gravity might have been different then.
You're right. Rufus, I think, needed to be re-socialized. Because they go to the bank, and the dude's like he's telling them about the funds, telling Trudy and Cherokee Bill about funds, and they said they only had $2,500. And then Rufus goes, "What did he say?" And the dude starts going, $2,500, and then he cuts him off. He's like, "I heard you."
Oh yeah, he was mad disrespectful.
Oh, I didn't understand. Like, what did he say? $2,500. I heard you.
I think he was just
What'd you
trying
say?
to be mad disrespectful.
No, I was trying to cut you off. What did you say?
Oh.
Maybe he had
No,
that.
hey, what did you say?
Maybe he had
No,
that
no,
thing
I heard you.
where when someone says something, you say "huh,"
And
but
then
then in
you
processing that
respond.
what you said, you're like, "Wait a minute," and then they say like, "Ah, wait, I heard."
It's just an odd moment to put in the movie, Oh no, that was kind of goofy to me.
When they went to go, what's her name? Mary went into. Was it Mary went in to rob the bank? Or who was it that went in?
Cuffy.
Cuffy went in to rob the bank.
Cathay Williams.
Cathay. And she went up to the bank teller and said, "Yes, I'd like to make a withdrawal." And they just started laughing at her. I'm like, "Yeah, you're gonna die now.
Yeah.
You're gonna die. You're at least gonna get shot in the leg."
It was funny though that the whole town was white, and I don't mean white people. I mean,
Yeah,
white.
like, literally, like,
everything was
buildings,
painted
white.
white.
Yeah.
The sand was white. The buildings were painted white. Like
And then
the
they just
floors,
put on the screen
ceilings.
a white town.
Yeah, that shit was so funny. And then at the bank, everybody just like
They just started laughing. And then they fucking, they did their whole thing.
Where she has
I'm
to
like-
fumble with she's not used to wearing dresses. She's like,
that shit was fucking hilarious.
this kind of withdrawal.
Yeah, I would have, she would have, especially after, like, that was like such a, like a, it wasn't even like a laugh, like, this is kind of funny. That was like I'm being disrespectful laugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
And I was like, yeah, you're gonna die.
I want
Y'all-
your feelings to be hurt.
I'm not gonna kill any of y'all, but you're gonna die.
It's like you at least.
You are dead. Congratulations.
Guaranteed. As soon as I get this fucking gun out.
You're
Shame,
dead.
it's a shame she didn't actually.
I kind of wish you would have really shot him in the
Yeah.
fucking leg. Like,
Ooh shit.
But Nat said the hardest part about robbing banks is doing it without killing people.
you don't have to kill someone to shoot him in the leg.
He said it's easy to rob banks, but it's hard to do it without killing people. That
Dude.
was his big point. It was like,
Yeah, but think
Do him
about
like
it.
they
Back
did that.
then-
Do him like they did that young boy soldier in the train. Just graze their shoulder. Give her a little flesh wound.
Yeah, but think about it
yeah,
like
but
this.
then
though.
they murdered all those people and made that boy drive the train.
Look,
Which, I know they did that for effect, but when he goes, everyone but him, and then he just slowly walks out,
Oh,
and
yeah,
there's
they
just
killed him.
bullets
Bullets
everywhere.
everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it looks cool, but like, what if you just got released and then a stray one just like got you in the back
and
of the
that's
head?
it.
And then
It
it's like,
ricochets
roll
off
credits.
the fucking ricochets off of the metal cage he was just in, the metal
Right.
box, and
Like, I don't know. I'd be like, after I leave the room.
and like also in the same aspect, how did no one else in there that was doing the shooting catch a bullet either?
Right.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
no,
it's a little- yeah.
the Rufus Buck gang definitely reminded me of. Did you watch that movie Old Guard?
No.
No. Okay, so it was like the most ridiculous fighting and stuff I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like they're like the perfect 4-man team where it's like if a dude's like over here and he's like, oh, I'm gonna kill this guy with a fucking shotgun and then flip it onto my back and like swing this axe, like somebody would grab the shotgun while he's like leaned over, fucking pull the trigger and shoot somebody over there. And like it was just cool. They were like,
Yeah.
you gotta watch it. Like it was so dope and so efficient.
Just very heavily choreographed.
It was, and it was like the choreography was like super phenomenal though. I was like, holy shit! Like I was like, that is the perfect 4-man team. But like this movie, I felt like that scene specifically was like a little over the top because I was just like, same thing went through my mind that went through yours, where you're just like, what if a stray bullet? Just...
Yeah.
But it's like, because I was like,
I mean, it looked cool. He just
looked
casually walked out of there like, yeah, I just ordered all these fucking people
it just
to be
casually,
killed.
yeah,
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh."
This movie reminded me a lot of Red Dead Redemption.
Yeehaw Skyrim.
Sure.
You never played Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah, dude.
Did you?
What the fuck you know about me?
You okay?
What are you looking at?
You motherfucker.
I said, fuck you know about me.
And I'm looking at you, motherfucker.
Oh, here we go.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't even... You just answer the... What, you just look at me?
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
He knows.
I don't think anyone knows. What are we talking about?
I know what's up because I get it.
What?
Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. So remind me
Yeehaw
of-
Skyrim. That's what it's called. It's called Yeehaw Skyrim.
I've
I kinda-
played Red Dead Redemption.
Because they had
Don't just discount me. I've
Red Dead
played
was
Red
like
Dead.
we had Red Dead back in the day too, like on PS2 and Xbox.
Played Red Dead.
Right. So Red Dead
I
came
was
out
not
back,
as into
Right.
it.
So
It came out back in the day.
explain Red Dead to him. He's never played it before.
Would you like a penis face?
Hey, would you like something a little bit more permanent? You can like
I thought you were gonna like pull out your actual penis.
now.
You want something more permanent? Here.
Would you like to give him an actual penis face?
One that he can't hide.
Alright. What do we think of Wiley Esco? The mayor, deputy kind of dude, the gold
With
teeth.
the grill in his mouth.
Took care of the town.
He knocked his
when-
fucking teeth clean
Yeah,
out.
he fucked him up. He takes care of the town when they're away. Spends all Rufus's money.
Eating that nasty ass, bloody ass, extra rare steak.
That motherfucker. We had that whole fucking speech practiced,
Yeah.
He at first I was like, oh, he's really just laying into this dude like
and
that.
then it zoomed out. He wasn't even fucking there. I was like, ah, and I was like, then it went out as it went nothing like that.
Mm,
Yeah.
that scene was tough.
That's like when you're in your room practicing how you're gonna ask your mom if you can go to your friend's house, stay the night,
Mhm.
and you're like you got it down to a pack, and you get to your mom and be like, yeah, can I stay the
You start muttering,
Charles?
looking down. Like, you ever do that shit? Like, my brother used to be the worst about that, where he's... he walk in... Like, I was standing there in my mom's office one time, and I remember Luke walks in, and he's just, like, kind of, like, hanging on the doorway, and he was asking to buy a game on the Xbox. I know it was called State of Decay, and literally what came out of his mouth was, "You know, I was wanting to buy this thing, State of Decay." Like, Mom, I looked at you like, what the fuck is that? And then, like, what? And he's like, I was wondering about the game State K. Like, boy, would you fucking speak? Yeah. No one knows.
English, motherfucker, do you speak?
Do you speak it? Yeah, that's goofy.
I would actually pay money for your mom to say that. To somebody, I would actually pay money.
Anyway, so Wiley Esco, I think, I don't know, do you spend Rufus Buck's money if you think he's in jail the rest of his life and that gang's not really hanging around the town anymore? Or are you kind of like,
no,
am I just holding this situation down?
Me, I personally wouldn't have spent it. Just because back then in that time, it's like, dog, like, jailbreaks, fucking train robberies, like, all that shit was, like, normal. Like, it wasn't hard to, like, break out of fucking jail there, because it's like you got a sheriff and a deputy in one town, and it's like if a band of like your group of people, your gang, whatever, comes looking for you, like they can easily break you out. Like it's no thing. So like that money was never gonna be like considered safe to like spend.
Yeah. What I found interesting about that whole dynamic of him breaking out is the fact that apparently, you know, government or somebody made a deal with Rufus Buck gang, like, we'll give you Rufus if you kill this whole crew of dudes that were, you know, doing some bad shit.
It's kind of like how you think about it though, it's like kind of.
But like they worked so hard to like get Rufus Buck, like, you know, Bass Reeves had to get involved, like got him. And
I get it, but at the same time, it's like
it's very interesting. They're just like, all right, you can have them, but like, because like fuck these guys.
But it's like Fast and the Furious and Suicide Squad. They hire a crew to fight and deal with work outside
the law.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, stuff they don't want to be tied to, pretty much.
I mean, yeah.
They don't want to get their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting dynamic on that one.
It was. I think that was a lot of extra security for one man to just be transferred.
Yeah.
Obviously, it wasn't enough.
Yeah, it wasn't enough, obviously. It's still lost.
Yeah, it was.
Movie rule, if the lead doesn't want your help, you gotta help.
Typical. Yeah.
He says everybody go home, and they're like, nah, we got it.
Yeah.
Like, we're here.
Per usual. Like,
this ain't what this gang's about. Yeah. If somebody don't want help, you gotta help them.
You're automatically obliged to help.
Yeah. Also, before she goes down to the town, he like Nat sticks his face in Mary's hair, and that big hair, right? And like that's cool, like now, but man, she just rode a horse through the fucking sun all day, and like baths weren't regular. There ain't no way that hair smells
river
good.
baths. Like I think of river baths in that time because it's like you didn't have showers, and I'm like.
Like, I'm sure they made that hair smell all good for that scene, but boy, back in the day,
dude,
boy,
in the 19th century, I guarantee it smelled like swamp ass and yeast infections. Like, there was, like...
Yeah.
There was no...
Sounds like a lovely cocktail.
There was no, like, for us, it's, like, normal. We come home, we, like, shower every day.
Yeah.
And it's, like, for them, it's, like, y'all out here making 13 kids, and your wife ain't bathed since last week's river bath, and it's like hot as fuck all the time because there's no AC.
It's 100 degrees in here. Like that, I feel like that's the speech you get from your wife. Like if you tried to have sex in 100 degrees in the 1900s. It's 100 degrees in here, and you want to fuck. like, oh, you just want to make it more sweaty in here, huh? You trying to make a swimming pool? Fuck that.
I mean, she'd already be wet from the sweat.
You can smell it before you get in it. Yeah. Sorry, I went there.
They smell like armpits and doo-doo.
Trudy's a bad businesswoman. She turns down an offer for someone to buy her business, and then it's like, all right, another round. Like, we want to buy your bar. Fuck you. All right, another round on me, everybody.
That shit's gotta cost a lot. Running a bar and just giving everybody in there a free round.
Yeah,
of shit.
you think?
Like, I mean, some motherfuckers are not cheap with shit. The people that drink like IPAs.
I mean, that dude.
I don't know how many IPA drinkers were going on in the
That dude at
the Old
Rooster
West,
Shit
still.
didn't exist.
That dude at Rooster still owes like what 50 people a drink right now.
Oh yeah, 50 at least at the minimum.
Motherfucker.
Do we go into that one?
We'll pass over that.
Yeah, we'll just.
pass
We're,
over that.
we're, at,
We
we're
just-
at an hour and 5.
You're still hanging on it.
well, we're cutting
You're
a
still.
lot of it, so.
You're still hanging on it.
Well, I know. I just we can't like do this thing where we throw out like obscene. There's nothing obscene about it.
Obscene.
Obscure references and then
That
just
fucking shitting ass motherfucker
yeah,
with his dick out, skeeting all over the place, owes me a drink.
obscene, obscure references. Both obscene and obscure was that reference.
That's my 2 favorite combos.
Yeah, it's just alright. So I skipped ahead a little bit. I wanted to say this movie was both like kind of felt short and felt long at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Where it felt short, where I felt like we kind of moved through things pretty quickly.
Just action scenes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we're starting the last, like the big confrontation, the last scene, right? Like, well, not the last, I mean, obviously they have a short scene at the end, but like the big final confrontation starts with 40 minutes left.
Yeah.
He pulls up on the horse and he's looking at the building that Rufus is in, and they do that zoom in. Like I paused right there. It was like 39 minutes left. I was like, Jesus Christ! Like this final scene is almost an
Felt
hour.
like it didn't last very long.
Oh, it still felt like that's fine.
At
I
least-
felt like
at
it
least for
just
me.
it was just like wow, like
I
we're only an hour and 20 in. Like I felt it moved so fast through the plot, and then it's like and now this big final confrontation is interesting to me.
Oh, I felt the other side like opposite. Like I felt like the first half of the movie went kind of slow, and then the end went fast. But that's probably because I got pulled into the action, so I lose track of time when I was in. Like I was engaged in it. I was like, "Oh, this is."
No, I mean but you watch it 3 times and
Well, okay, yeah, that might do it.
basically you watch it 3 times and you go like, is this one that's highly rewatchable? No, because stuff starts getting old. Other movies, kind of rewatch, like kind of oddly, like oh yeah, I don't mind this quite as much, 3-4 times through, but. Yeah, so the quote from the beginning of that big confrontation, that dude bet Bass Reeves that his body count was higher, bet his right arm, and that'd be a bad bet. Wagon explodes, arm lands on the ground. Is that the right arm or the left? That's my quote
That
from
shit was
one,
funny.
from that scene. And we kind of talked about the Beckworth, Cherokee Bill cheating thing already, so we'll move past that. Shot through the scope was cool. We talked about that. I was gonna say I think, and you kind of touched on this with the the trick shots thing, but my point here was I think they made the Marshal like a little too slick. Where like he's walking ahead and all of a sudden he just turns around and he knows there's a dude up in the window and just nails him. Like Marshall's slick and it's really cool that like he's that dude. But also like maybe a little too slick, I don't know. It was just me. No? Nobody else?
I probably didn't.
I probably wasn't such a cunt. That's
Yeah.
fair. That's fair.
I probably wasn't like looking too much into it when I watched
Well,
it.
no, I'm just saying like he hits every shot.
Well, that's what I was saying. At
and,
the
like,
end, they
even
didn't
just-
miss.
Even just like turns around like what was funny though is like Mary and Trudy start shooting at each other, right? And then like Mary hits like all these other dudes that are pursuing her while she's trying to fight Trudy. And then like at Trudy it's like Where is it?
All of a
Where
sudden
is it?
it's Stormtrooper
I can't
in.
find. Yeah. Like I can hit disposable characters, but
Fucking what a way to go though with Wiley.
yeah, that's the next
Rufus.
note. This movie rule can't just shoot someone. You got to talk. Like Wiley could have just got him when he's coming down the stairs. He's holding the gun. And then he puts it
could've.
down. Let's just talk. And then Rufus shoots the bag of dynamite that Wiley's holding, and he just
It
gets
just blew
incinerated.
up. It just blew up everything in that room.
It was a sweet kill though.
It was. Now my question is, does dynamite actually explode like that if it's shot? Because usually it's like a fuse-based explosive.
Unfortunately, we did not do any dynamite research. For
And
this
also, how did he know
podcast.
that? How did he know it was dynamite in the bag?
We should make some dynamite real quick.
Well, he probably heard the
That's illegal
explosion.
as all fuck. Yeah,
Because
he did
Wiley
hear the
walks
explosions.
in, says, "Jump, motherfuckers!" Throws it at those other
fucking-
two
yeah.
dudes.
So that's a no on that.
What? No, yeah, it's a no.
Yeah,
That's
it's
a
a
strong
big
no.
no.
But we're
It's a
recording this.
strong-
We're in Mexico right now, so
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
so
No.
Suspenseful shot. They make you think Cuffy lost the pull to
Cherokee Bill.
Cherokee Bill. You know, long shot on her face,
I
kind
was
of being surprised.
so
You're like,
fucking.
damn.
I was
really?
hoping so much that she didn't lose that because I was like, he already like cheated and killed the
Yeah.
kid, and I was like,
And-
that kid was gonna smoke him. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that kid was gonna fucking smoke him.
She says Beckworth is faster, and remember when they're sitting around the campfire, says, you know, I've seen faster one, like where? Like in the mirror, and they laugh at her, but then, you know, she smoked Bill, so. Good on Cuffy.
Overlap.
Pickett should have taken the lucky coin out of his pocket.
Should have left it there.
As soon
man.
as he took it
I
out,
was-
kissed it, BAM!
I was so like, I was like, and this is where I turned the movie off.
And so I love the confrontation at the end between Nat and Rufus. Because I feel like this whole scene, I'm sitting here wondering why Rufus doesn't come outside and help this gang. You know, if Rufus is this bad motherfucker, like honestly expected more Rufus. Like they show him basically kill an unarmed family in the beginning. You know, and if he's supposed to be just this bad dude, I'm expecting some serious cowboy shit from this guy, right?
Mhm.
I mean, and you
Where
know,
was that
he
same
beats
energy?
he beats up Wiley.
With a gun, mind you.
Yeah,
Knocks his
like
fucking teeth like out of his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he juiced that fight. He was juicing for that fight, you know. Like he got a gun. Like he cheated. It's a cheat, you know. Now, granted, Wiley did some, you know, kind of deserved it because he cheated him.
Out of
So-
some dineros.
You know, he put all the money in his mouth, so you know, not great. So you know, I'm just you're kind of wondering, like, all right, well, where's this come in? But you find out because Nat goes in, and they're talking, and it's a very interesting conversation because you find out that they're half brothers. You know, they had the same father, and that apparently the dad used to be this terrible guy. So he knows him as this terrible guy that he has to take revenge on. Whereas Nat knows him as this, you know, loving, good man that was a good father to him that was just ripped away from him.
man of God.
Man of God. So Nat has been looking for revenge for his family being taken away from him all this time. But the man he wants to exact his revenge on for taking them away is also his family. So then what do you do in that situation? Maybe it's a no-brainer because you barely know the guy and you just want revenge for your family. But at the same time, you go like, well, shit, I've been wanting to take revenge because my family was taken away. Like, ultimately, you want revenge because you have no family anymore.
But then it's like you have.
But then there's family right here. So do you do it? It's a stumper. I don't know. Or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just that simple. Fuck this guy.
It's that
Yeah, fuck
moral.
this guy.
It's that moral compass again.
Fuck this
It's like
guy.
it's like would you take that revenge for your father and your mother being killed, on your brother, nonetheless,
Family don't mean shit.
or would you forgive him and because he is your brother, and that is the last surviving family member you have. So there's definitely like, I mean, I thought about it like when I was sitting there because like I have, like you don't have a half brother.
I have a half brother. Yes.
That's exactly what he has.
That's exactly what
he has exactly
Okay,
does
I
have a half
thought
brother.
you and your brother were full-blooded siblings.
No.
Okay, I thought you and your brother were full. I've always thought that.
No.
But me and Aaron, like, so because all my other friends are like, not like that. Brooke has a half brother, but I was like, I tried to put myself in his shoes. Okay, don't be a cunt. Listen.
It's just funny. It's like me looking at you and being like, "You're not a boy."
That is not even the fucking same.
It's just funny, like telling somebody about themselves. It's like,
well, I know he has a brother, but you and your brother are like full-blooded siblings. But I always thought him and Corey were full-blooded siblings.
I'm not him.
I know where your brother came from. I know who his dad is. And it's the same dad that you have.
Well, no, we already discussed who his dad is.
Right, no, you're right.
We gotta rewind.
Yeah, you're right.
Alright,
Can we get a playback? No, I just tried to put myself in his shoes in that moment where I was like, could I see myself shooting Aaron, which is not my full-blooded sibling.
He killed your dad and mom.
If he killed my dad and mom. But that's what I'm saying. I try to put myself in him in that situation.
Yeah.
And it's hard to like come up with an answer with. So I was like,
well, and so you have to also take into account, like, you don't know this guy.
Yeah.
All you know about this guy is he killed these people. So no reference.
I got a better one. Going off of that, you've known Aaron your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
Think about your sister.
Calista.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about.
Think about how you felt when you first found out about her. You were like, okay, but I don't feel any relations towards this person because I don't really know them.
I was actually excited. But yes,
like you don't,
I
you don't.
I didn't have the same bond that I have with
never
my
met
brother.
her.
Right.
Yeah. So think if she had killed your parents and then you found out about her, how you feel about her? You know, because I don't know what was that feeling like? Like you probably don't. You probably learned to love that person, but you probably don't immediately love that person, right?
No, at that point, because at the time she was still
a stranger.
I still had to get to know her and know how she, like, who she is and how she is. Which, I mean, even though we don't talk now, it's like she's still my sister.
Yeah.
Like, I still love her.
So could you kill her? Is what.
Right now, gun on the table.
Do you want to murder?
I will say this. I will say this, and I will say this in the most honest way that I can, without it sounding like absolutely like psychotic.
Uh-huh.
Well, that's what we're here for.
I would literally end any life if I had to. Like, I really would.
Good job on not making that sound psychotic. Yeah.
So what you're saying is you're pro-choice.
That's not at all what I'm fucking saying.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, so anyway, that whole thing explains why Rufus didn't want to come out and fight. May have been hoping that someone would end it for him. Maybe he hoped there wouldn't be a fight, but it also seems like he kind of wanted a fight.
Mm.
Like, it kind of seems like he just wanted them to kill these people and get the money and be done, is what it seemed like to me.
Yeah.
And he was hoping to not really get involved. He doesn't want to kill his half-brother.
Yeah, I think that he definitely was, like, because he obviously knew about it, like...
Right.
So
yeah,
he was
he
maybe,
tells him and, you know.
What I'm saying is, like, maybe for him it was like, at least morally, he was like, I don't want to have to do this to somebody that is my family. Like, that's... Yeah. He's like, I think the way he saw it was like, at the end of the day, this is blood. And he's like, you don't do that to blood. At least for him.
Yeah.
So, I was kind of surprised with the outcome of that situation, though.
Very interesting dynamic, for sure. And then you show, as they all ride away in the sunset, they make, they stage it to where it looks like Nat Love died, right? Buried him with Pickett and Beckworth. And then Trudy
still alive.
Is standing there holding the hat. Which, by the way, the Mary Trudy fight scene was pretty cool. I mean, they fucking went at it.
They went at it.
And Mary won like a savage, beat her across the face with a shotgun one time. That was crazy.
Dude.
One whack, so I guess you can't really say beat. Beat implies multiple hits, right? But I would think it does.
Yeah, it does. I would think so.
So then so they ride off at the end. and Trudy's sitting there holding the hat. Which brings the question:
Is there going to be another one?
would you? Well, yes, that. But more importantly, would you want to see another one of these movies? Because a lot of characters are gone, so that means you have to go through a whole. Unless they, they could isolate it to where it's only about those characters that walked away from this one. But more than likely, you need some other characters involved. So, like, do you want to meet a whole new set of characters for this series? Or do you think, like, I think this one's better off just left alone.
Like a one and done.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Like, I think you can kind of, like, it's kind of one of those things where you can create fan theories on it.
Right, yeah.
Where, like, oh, Trudy was sitting there, so maybe she's going to kill them all. I don't know. Like, I think it's more of a, just best left open to, the imagination and not another movie. But, I mean, would you guys want another sequel?
You said
would you guys
no.
want a sequel? You say no.
I wouldn't want a sequel, but if they did, and they did it, like, they brought in, like, the right people, and the right kind of, like, I guess the right story or whatever.
It's basically same director again.
I would
that kind of
I would
thing.
watch it, yes.
You want the original characters from...
I would
like,
still
the
want
characters, the surviving characters.
Yes. I would still want them all to be the same.
Like, same actors, yeah.
And if they brought in other people that were good and, kind of followed with the
Like
way
a heavily vetted story, like not one of those sequels that seem just kind of thrown together as a money grab, but like a well thought out. Because I mean, a good sequel is very rare.
Yeah,
and mostly because I think a lot of them are just fucking money grabs.
And I think we talked about this last week. Was it last week or the week before? We were talking about how sequels weren't as good.
Yeah. I think
Usually.
we touched on that a little bit during when we were talking about episode 5. Yeah.
But yeah,
and that's why the Star Wars trilogy is like cool, because you don't really have those duds when you hit the sequel, because everything. I mean, obviously everything's written out already, so they kind of know the directions they're going. They just got to hit it in these 3 episodes.
but they still executed well.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch if they did decide to do one. I would watch it. I would watch it. Do I expect them to do one? Like, no, but do I also really want them to do one? Like, I don't care. Really indifferent to it.
Yeah.
But like, if they did, I would definitely watch it.
All right. So ratings and whatnot.
We're doing the A, B, C, D scale now.
You can do whatever you want. I find that I don't like the numbers quite as much, and I think a letter grade works better for me. So I'm gonna go on letter grades, but you guys can do however you want. You can, do out of 100 eggplants or.
I'm gonna go with C plus eggplant.
Okay.
All right. I'll go with the.
Why? Sorry. Why?
It was. I mean, it was an alright movie to me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the casting lineup I think was great.
Yeah.
I think
That's what.
the casting lineup was great.
That's what drew me to the movie.
Like
originally.
everyone played their character very well. Very well.
Yeah.
The storyline itself, I felt, was drawn out.
A little bit. It felt that way. Yes.
So, I mean, the action scenes, like I said earlier, went by quickly, but then, like, in between the action scenes, I just felt like really drawn out. And then, you made the comment about the 40 minutes left for the final scene.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, that's
like feels both short and long at the same time. Yeah.
Agreed.
So,
I give it 7.5 out of 10 stars. Because,
see.
7.5, yeah.
Thank you.
Because it wasn't like the greatest movie I've ever seen, but I really enjoyed watching it because of the cast that they had picked for the movie.
Yeah.
And the action was pretty good. The action was dope.
I would give it a C. Some of the story and stuff is a little shaky, and it's pretty much across the board, it seems. But it looked cool, and I liked the dynamic in the end of that family. Avenge the family, but you have family right in front of you. I like the dynamic. That's very cool. And yeah, to see.
So we're all C's.
Literally.
C-cup.
C, D's nuts.
See these nuts on
OnlyFans.
Content Crisis 1 Twitter,
And OnlyFans.
Content Crisis Hotline at yahoo.com, and thank you for listening.
Shout out to Xbox for sponsoring us for this podcast. Get your Xbox Series X or S at your local Myers, who also sponsored us.
Maybe that's the way we do it. We just start doing ads for companies, and then
That's totally.
and then they contact us at one point, and they're just like, "Hey,
Can you stop fucking saying our shit?
we've been wondering why we've had this big sales dip, and we can link it all back to when you guys started doing fake ads. So can you
You fucking
stop?
Please shut it the fuck up.
All right, thanks for
Otherwise, it's
listening,
sponsored
guys.
by Xbox.
Hey yo.
Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.